Throughout time, there have been tons of stories and legends about man-eating plants. It might sound crazy, but there are plants out there that do eat or absorb living things, such as the Venus flytrap. So it might not be that crazy for one to believe, at one time in our history, there could have actually been man-eating plants. And some of these very recent encounters suggest that these man-eaters could still exist to this very day. There are a lot of ancient writings about a tree once called the human face tree. Although this isn't a man-eating tree, it's definitely one that I wanted on this list as I find it extremely interesting. There are so many ancient documents about this tree, making some believe that at one time it might have actually existed. It is said that this tree would produce fruit that looked exactly like human faces, and these faces would smile or laugh when the fruit was ripe and ready to be eaten. The human face tree was believed to grow in very remote mountain valleys of China. This fruit was said to have a very pleasant, sour-sweet taste to it, and once this fruit was discovered, it became insanely popular. Now, due to how rare these trees were and how much in demand they were, it is believed that the Chinese just kept eating them until they all disappeared from the face of the earth. In the late 19th century, a German explorer was on expedition exploring the remote jungles of Madagascar. One day he came across what he described as a tribe of savages. This elusive tribe started to emerge from the jungle, and they were making a great deal of noise. The German explorer was wondering what the heck was going on, and he followed this tribe. The tribe finally stopped when they approached a very bizarre-looking tree. Then the tribe forced a woman to climb it. As this woman was climbing the tree started to come alive, and it started to crush this woman. Then the tribe just started to go completely nuts. It's as if they were extremely happy because this tree accepted their sacrifice. While the tribe was celebrating, the tree was slowly digesting this woman. The explorer will never forget the terrifying sounds that this woman made. It sent chills down his spine as it echoed throughout the forest. After this out-of-this-world sacrifice, the tribe started to gather at the trunk of the tree. Then they started to drink the blood and the tree fluid. Now, instead of running away as fast as he could, the German explorer was in awe of this tree. He couldn't believe what he just witnessed. He knew that this was a once-in-a-lifetime discovery, so he stayed to examine this tree. And on April 26, 1874, the New York World Daily Edition published his article about this flesh-eating tree. Now, throughout the years, there have been dozens of alleged sightings of the Madagascar tree, and some people do believe that it does exist. A book published by J.W. Buell titled Sea and Land describes another man-eating tree known by the natives as the I See You Already tree. This legendary flesh-eater is said to exist in the remote jungles of South America. This tree is said to consume insects, but when it grows big enough, it will devour humans and other big mammals that gets close enough. This elusive tree is also said to possess an eye, so it can locate its prey. Now, there have been tons of alleged sightings of this tree for centuries from dozens of South American tribes. But yet, still to this day, no scientist has been able to discover its existence. The South African tree of death is another yet to be discovered plant species. It was first reported in the journal Nature on November 2nd, 1882 by Reverend G.W. Parker. Parker was a very well-known and respected person in his time, thus making his writings about the South African tree of death very famous. Parker said that the tree of death would poison animals that got close enough. The animals would die and slowly decay around the tree. Parker believed that the tree did this so it could fertilize the soil so the tree could thrive. The ground around this evil tree was filled with skeletons. It was a very disturbing sight. Parker also stated that when damaged, it would release a fluid-like poison. The symptoms of this poison included headaches, bloodshot eyes, severe pain, delirium, followed by death. There was also a case involving one of the local tribes. The tribe's people unknowingly used a tree of death's wood for fuel for cooking, and they all got very sick, and they all died shortly after. The locals believed that this tree was an evil spirit, and they would sacrifice sheep and goats, hoping that it would calm the evil spirit that lay within. After Reverend G.W. Parker's report in the journal Nature, people still to this very day search for the tree of death, but still, no real evidence has ever been found. A naturalist known as Mr. Dustin wrote an article for the Lucifer magazine. The article went into great detail about a species of plant that he stumbled upon while exploring the remote swamps of Central America. Mr. Dustin went to this remote location looking to discover new species of plant life. And on one day, he stumbled upon a single grove of what the natives called the vampire vine, or the devil's snare, in one of the swamps. He stated that this rare plant had the capability to drain the blood out of any living thing that came within its death-dealing grasp. Mr. Dustin was hunting with some of the natives when he started to hear his dog cry out. He knew his dog was in a great deal of pain. Mr. Dustin saw that his dog was entangled in what seemed to be a fine rope-like tissue of roots and fiber. The native servants who accompanied Mr. Dustin told him that his dog was caught in the devil's snare, and they told him all about his death-dealing powers. Mr. Dustin could not believe that he stumbled upon a rare plant of this magnitude, and right away he started to study it. The first thing that he realized is that this plant was a bloodsucker, and once it got a hold of its prey, there was little to no chance of survival. Mr. Dustin stated that this elusive plant possessed tons of little suckers, and if you forcefully tried to remove whatever it was grasping, you would most likely end up killing it, as it resulted in a great deal of torn flesh. Its suckers were just that strong. The locals of that area know all about the vampire vine, but they told Mr. Dustin that it is extremely rare to actually come face to face with one. Throughout the centuries, there have been tons of alleged sightings and encounters with man-eating plants. But just like all the stories and legends within this video, we still don't have any actual real evidence that they exist. But this next story gives some credibility that these man-eaters just might be real. On October 18, 2007, in South India, a group of cows were grazing in the forest. Then, according to reports, one of the cows was grabbed by some branches and pulled right up off the ground. The herd started to stampede, and the villagers went to go see what the heck was going on. The villagers couldn't believe what they were seeing, and they all started to punch and hack at the branches until they were finally able to free this cow. The villagers were shocked beyond belief, and they destroyed the tree. A forest ranger that worked in that area heard all about the story, and he went to go investigate. But he couldn't produce any actual evidence, as the villagers destroyed this tree. But he told the press that over the years, he has heard very similar stories. Now, throughout India, there is a legend about a tree known as the tiger tree, and this tree is said to consume large mammals if they get close enough. But the tiger tree is still a myth, as it's never been officially found and documented. Now, the forest ranger believes that these villagers are telling the truth. They are not the type of people to make something like this up, making this case some great possible evidence that these man-eating trees just might exist, although extremely rare. Until next time, this is Paranormal Junkie. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned.